Chapter 26. Quiet Morning. There was no way for Crean and the boys to find Drew. They were hemmed in by Jumbies and villagers fighting. Instead, the three found their way back to the baker's outdoor oven and slumped to the ground in a heap, leaning against each other to keep their backs and heads upright in case of attack. But in moments, they'd all fallen asleep from exhaustion. Every hour late, Several hours later, all three of them woke up on flour sacks on the floor of the bakery. Hugo, the baker, was asleep on a chair, barring the front door. The thick oar-like pallet that he used to put the bread into the brick oven was lying across his lap. The flat end was cracked and splintered. Hugo didn't look much better. His arm was slashed in places as if he had been mauled by a lugahoo. While the baker continued to sleep, Corrine opened one of the windows, and she and the boys slipped outside. In the bright midday light, the remains of the battle were revealed in sharp, horrible detail. The village was in shambles. Torn bits of cloth lay everywhere. Dust circled in the air, stones, broken pieces of wood, tufts of fir, branches, bricks, burned out torches, and broken lanterns were strewn along the road, in yards, and around the open market. In some places, little piles of ash, with tiny wisps of smoke still curling above them, began to blow away in the breeze. Every now and then the children stepped over gory tracks where the wounded had been dragged off into the woods. Whether the victims were human or Jumbie, they could not tell. Although the sun was already high in the sky, the three of them were the only ones outside. The island had never been so quiet. "They're gone for now," Crean said. "We have until tonight to think of what to do." "What can we do?" Buki said. "They're stronger than us. They can make giant killer weeds grow up out of the ground in seconds. They have claws and razor-sharp teeth and fur." "Everything has a weakness," Crean said. "Remember Drew said they can't come out during the day?" "Severine can," Drew said. "Drew!" Crean rushed to hug her. "You're okay." Drew didn't hug her back. Her hair was unbraided and waved in the wind, and there was a strange look in her eyes. "What happened?" Crean asked. "They were everywhere," Drew said. "I made it all the way home, and I peeped out of a hole in the wall near my bed. I saw them come out of the forest and start banging down doors and fighting with my neighbors. Then a little band of Dooans started to pitch marbles in the street. My neighbor Alan—" She paused and looked at Crean. "He came out to play with them. I wanted to scream at him not to go, but I didn't want them to know where I was, so I just watched. As soon as he picked up a marble to pitch, they started saying, 'Ooh, ooh, ooh.' And next thing, Alan was saying it too." Crean gasped. "What happened?" "His mother came out and tried to call him back. So then the Jumbies knew his name. They called him, and he followed them into the forest. His mother called him again, but he couldn't go to her." "Why not?" Buki asked. When he turned back towards his mother, his legs didn't turn with him. They were still walking towards the forest while the rest of him was facing his mother. I stopped looking then. I could still hear all the fighting, but I couldn't watch anymore." Crean tried to shake off the cold feeling that was crawling up her spine. Then she whispered, "I'm sorry." Drew cast an accusing eye at Crean, but said nothing. Malik hung his left arm at his side and hobbled for a few steps. "That's no use. We tried to talk to the witch before," Crean said. "She didn't want to help." Malik waved his hand at the destruction all around them. "You're right, brother," Buki said. "Things are different now." "The White Witch doesn't care," Crean said. "Maybe it's you she doesn't want to help," Drew said. "You were the one who went running into the mahogany forest, where everyone knows there are Jumbies. You were the one who had the Jumbie in your house. Maybe the witch just didn't want to help you." She bit down hard on her trembling lip. "It's not my fault that Miss Severine followed me out of the forest, and if you're looking for somebody to blame for sending me in there—" She pointed a finger at Buki. "Me? How was I supposed to know the stupid Gaute would go that way?" Malik stamped his foot so hard that the curls on his head shook. He pointed towards the forest and then back at the village. Then he put his hands on his hips. "Okay, you're right, Malik," Crean said. "They could come back. So how do we find the witch?"